Today we're checking out the new Gozney Arc Junior, or Tread as they're calling it. It's pretty much a 12-inch arc. We're gonna be looking at a lot of things. We're gonna be looking at heat up times, recovery times, heat distribution, and much more. First off, I bought this with my own money. Got the receipts here to prove it for you naysayers. Spent my hard-earned money on this thing. Had to drive an hour and a half to get it because I'm not an ambassador for Gozney, so I didn't get early access to any of this. So this is an unpaid, honest opinion of this new pizza oven. So let's jump right into it. Let's check out the heat up times. Like any other pizza oven, I put my thermometers in here, let it come up to temp, and I track the time. The benchmarks I'm looking for are first 850. It took 23 minutes to get to 850, which is usually where I launch my pizzas. 23 minutes is pretty quick. I'm very impressed so far. 23 minutes. You'll have to stick around and check out some of the comparison videos on this so you can see it compared to the Arc and the Rock Box, but 23 minutes is a really good time. And you can see on the graph here, it continues up, and at 31 minutes, we hit 950, which is quick. And then after 41 minutes, we're hitting 1,000 degrees. And you can see on the graph here, it just tapers off at 1,000. I have tested pizza ovens like, I think the Arc, they just kept going past 1,000. I really like that this doesn't go past that because I'm worried if you left it on high and walked away, you might do some damage. This just hovered at 1,000. So heat up times on this thing so far are great. The next thing I looked for is if you put it on the lowest temp, what does it read at? So I left it on the lowest temp for like 30 minutes, and 730 is right where it kind of baselined. Which I wish some of these ovens could go lower, like 400, because then you could actually cook in them easier, like throw in a cast iron with some food, maybe some peach cobbler while you're camping, and be able to bake something. Whereas at 730 degrees, you're just gonna burn stuff. So on to our heat distribution test. With this test, we really wanna see where are the hot spots, where does the heat get trapped, how well does the stone heat up, how does the heat get distributed. Big word for me. So here's what we do. First, we let the pizza oven heat up for 45 minutes. We try and maintain it at 850. We don't want to shoot too much past that. We launch a pizza, turn it on full throttle. We cook it for 1.5 minutes, and we do not turn it. That way we can actually see where the hot spots are. So let's take a look at our results. I was a little surprised by this test because normally the crusts on these, like with the Arc and stuff, it just obliterates them and burns them. On this one, you can see on the picture here, on that left side, and sorry, the backdrop's black, so it kind of hides the burn, but over on the left, you see a little bit of a burn, but then all around the back is a beautiful crust. It did a great job retaining that heat around the back. Obviously in the front, it's undercooked. We've seen that in the tests, especially since the opening's there, but I am very surprised how well it distributed the heat toward the back and that it didn't scorch that left side of the crust. The other thing I was shocked by is on the opposite side, the right side of the crust, when this was heating up, you could see the flame arc, that's why it's called the arc over, and the flame came down really low. It was kind of swirling around. It looked pretty cool. But I thought for sure that flame coming down, since the crust was right there, that it would burn it, and it didn't, surprisingly. Now let's take a look at the undercarriage. That's testing how well the stone held the heat and how well it was distributed. And on the bottom, you can see here, on the left is where the flame is, so it's a little bit more burned there, but the rest of that undercarriage looks great. I thought the top towards my thumb, where the front of the pizza oven is, I thought that would be more pale, because I didn't rotate this pizza at all. And it had a great undercarriage. So very impressed with the heat distribution, especially on the stone. Now on to the recovery test. I like to do this after the heat distribution test. So after we pull that pizza out, I temp it, and this time it was 725, and then I keep track of how long it takes to get back up to 850 degrees. And with the Gozney Tread, it was 2 minutes and 45 seconds till it was back up to temp. The reason I like to do this test is if you're gonna be cooking multiple pizzas when you have a crowd coming over, it's good to know how long it takes to heat back up, because if you have a lot of people making pizzas and you're just cooking them for them, you're gonna continually get worse and worse undercarriage or crust. So it's good to know, okay, I gotta wait about 3 minutes in between each cook if I want every pizza to have a great crust. So to remove the tread stone, sounds like a Jason Bourne movie, there are 4 screws up here in the front, you just need a torque screw for, that you can remove and take this plate off, and then you can remove the stone. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stone now. We've removed it from the oven, and this is kind of a new design I haven't seen on the others. There's a notch here that when you slide it in kind of hooks in the back, and then also along where you launch, there's a groove here where this piece goes on and helps hold the stone in place. Really cool design. I like that the stone's removable, but also can be held in place, because the arcs kind of make me nervous with how easy they are to pull out, that if you're transporting them, they might rattle around and they could crack. So let's look at the size of the stone. We've got our 12-inch cutout, which is not perfect, but pizzas aren't perfect. And you throw it here on the stone, pretty tight fit on the side, which is very similar to the rock box. But what I really do like about the tread is there's that forward-backward action. Okay, the reason I like that there's room forward and back is when you're launching the pizza, it gives you a little more leeway front to back, that if you over launch it forward or don't go far enough, you've got that room. Would be nice if it was a little wider, but like I said, it's right on par with the rock box, except the rock box, it's like tight both ways. I was a little surprised to see underneath the stone. On the Arc series, they have that foam white insulation stuff. Underneath the tread stone, it's just a thin sheet metal that's kind of flimsy, and underneath that is just kind of air. I won't judge it too harshly yet because I haven't been able to do tests with back-to-back-to-back-to-back pizzas on there to see how well that stone retains its heat. So for now, I'll list that as a concern, but I can't say I've seen any negative from it. So now let's dive into the pros and cons. The pros for the Gozney Tread. I do like these handles. These handles make it very easy to transport and move around. And on that note, this thing's light. It comes in at like 29 pounds? 29.7 pounds. That's pretty light. So you can go around, take this thing camping. And again, that stone's, you know, it's in there. So you're not worried about it flopping around. So this is definitely contoured to taking this on adventures, taking it to the park. Very portable. The handles can also be removed. There's a tool that comes with the oven where you can go through and take these 2 screws out right here and remove the handle. When you do remove it, there's a washer on each screw, so be careful not to lose that. Keep track of it, and obviously you can put it back on. Another cool thing on this oven is this hose storage. There's these 2 little clips around here you can wrap the hose around and store the hose so it's not flopping around. I think that's really cool because on the rock box, I usually just keep the whole burner attached and then the hose just kind of flops around. And then on the Arc, I remove it, wrap it around and throw it inside. So this is a nice way to keep it connected and keep it all together. There is also this optional cutting board attachment, and it's more than just a cutting board. So this just goes on top. And the nice thing here is this is metal. So if you're cooking with cast iron, you can set it on top. You have somewhere to set it, which, you know, when you're at home, there's plenty of spots. When you're out camping and you've got this set up, it's nice to have that table attachment. And then it also comes with this cutting board. The nice thing with this is we do a lot of pizza events, and my wife brought this up. If we had like 4 of these ovens all next to each other and you had one person cooking on 2, one person cooking on the other, the second they're done cooking, they can set them on top, and then you can have someone else on the other side just taking them and going and cutting them and serving people. So whoever's cooking can just solely focus on cooking. Also, it's nice when you're out and you have a limited space, you can set the pizza on there, you can cook it on here. And this tempt, so when I got the pizza oven up to 1,000, I got my IR gun and checked. It's about 150 degrees up here, really close to the exhaust. It's about 250. So it'll keep your pizza warm. But also, I really want to try out is cooking pizzas in the cold. The dough tends to be really hard to work with. So if you were out camping in the cold or cooking out in the cold, I really want to try setting it on here and see if that helps loosen the dough and make it easier to actually stretch the dough. Now let's go over the bad. So The Rock Box comes with a peel. And then Gozney kind of went away from that, which I don't appreciate. A lot of their competitors are providing peels when you buy a pizza oven, especially, you buy the Gozney Dome for like $2,000. Can't you throw in an $80 peel, $100 peel, whatever it costs? Can't you throw that in? This, I feel like, would have been great if they could have thrown in a peel, and ideally the handle could fold somehow and you could store it on top, put it in your bag, and carry it. That would have been phenomenal. Still something you guys could do, Gozney. Maybe look into that. It would be great to have a peel that came with this that could fold up and fit in here, especially since this thing is contoured toward portability. There is no digital display. The Rock Box doesn't either, but this being the Arc Junior, pretty much would have been cool to have that digital display. There is still the display on the side, just like the Rock Box, which works well. So if you're out and about, you can look and see what it's reading underneath. And it is pretty close, so if you don't have an IR gun and you're just going out, I've tested it and temped it, and it was actually really close to what the analog reader is. Again, you gotta wait 20, 30 minutes. It's not gonna be accurate in the beginning, but once it has time to saturate the stone, it's pretty accurate. So the other con is the stand. So that was kind of a big selling point for me, is being able to take this out on fun adventures and set it up on the tripod stand and be able to cook wherever and not have super level ground. But the store I bought this from told me when I bought it that there's a recall going on the stand right now, so I wasn't able to purchase it. It's supposed to come out in May, is what I've heard. So hopefully they can get that figured out, because it'd be super cool to test out the stand. So a little disappointed I wasn't able to get the stand with it. The other thing I've noticed when it's been heating up for a while is the handles here are great, but the handle by the burner gets really hot, and wanting to move it, it gets hot enough it kind of burns your hand and hurts. Obviously, you can just throw a glove on and move it around. It was just nice with the arcs, they have a handle down here that you could kind of pick it up, and if you need to just kind of shift it over a little bit, it was pretty easy to do, and the handles weren't hot at all, where this is not the case. So I guess you could just grab it with one hand and move it, but if you've wrapped up a cooking event and you want to start packing them up, you just need to be a little bit careful about the handle. It gets pretty hot. So that's our initial review of the Gozney Tread. We've got so much more to come. Make sure you're subscribed. If you want to see this versus the Rock Box, this versus the Arcs, I've got some other ideas on taking this out camping and trying cooking with it, cooking up in the mountains in the snow. Let me know what you guys want to see me do with the Gozney Tread. Put all your awesome ideas in the comments below. And other than that, thanks for stopping by.